This is going to be a rant slash channeled messages slash my journal entry. I have no idea. It's going to be a continuation of what I already filmed on TikTok, which was a rant. Let me tell you that. I don't even know where to start, but like, this is still piping hot. Yeah. So on TikTok, and I might. I'm not gonna post a short on YouTube. I don't really feel like it's fit for YouTube. Anyway, my TikTok is like down below in the description if you want to check it out. But I was ranting about. Oh, I see a cat. Sorry, I feel like there's going to be a lot of distractions in this video. I should close a window. It's about the chosen ones, the witches, the spiritual people, the people who know that they are raising the consciousness of this planet, the people that know that are doing the inner work, the people that know that they are walking down a very important, purposeful path, doubting themselves, questioning themselves, always thinking that there's something wrong with them, underestimating themselves, and it comes from the environment underestimating, belittling, questioning, doubting you, right? And it's like, that's on them. That's their projection onto you. You're doing enough, and you're doing great. It's like, I've realized that, like, these people, right, who are doing this inner work, who are doing a lot of tough emotional, spiritual, psychological work, we always go within, we always go inward, we always look within ourselves. We do the work on ourselves. We find out what our patterns are. We break those patterns. We heal our traumas. We meditate. We pray. We research, educate ourselves, read. We are experienced. We are knowledgeable. We are doing enough. But still, we keep, it's a thing that we do because we have to do it, because it's a good thing to, it's what we need to do. It's the right approach towards yourself. But like, we do all this on ourselves, right? People in our lives, most of the time, the people in our immediate environment, especially at the beginning of our work, when we don't, this is so hard, when we have not yet met our soul tribe, or we have not yet connected with like-minded people or whatever, the people in our environment don't do this, right? It's like when you decide to go to therapy, even if you're not a spiritual person, the people around you don't, right? It's like you have to go to therapy for the people in your life who didn't go to therapy. Same thing. So we always do this. We always work on ourselves. We always blame ourselves for everything. We always look at our shortcomings, what we are doing wrong, what's wrong with us, right? What did I do wrong? What's going on in me? Why am I attracting these people? Why is this a trigger for me? Blah, 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 blah. It's always our own healing. It's always educating ourselves about ourselves. It's time to commend yourself for what you're doing and realize that some people in your life are also at fault, and it's not just you. And that these people should also take responsibility for themselves. Point blank, period. Like, you can't always blame yourself for everything. And it is a very powerful mindset to be in. And like I said, it is the efficient, and I think for the most part, the right mindset to be in, because it's like you can't control others. You can only control yourself. You do manifest your outer circumstances. So like, if you attract certain people into your life, if you attract toxic people, toxic situations, obviously you got to look within, like, what's going on with me? Why is this happening? What am I doing? Right? Like, yes, you're a conscious creator. Absolutely do that. But also, if you have the capacity to do that, and others in your life don't, why do you let them question you and judge you about that? Doubt you, belittle you, underestimate you. And then in turn, you start doing that to yourself. When you are the only one out here doing the work. You know what you're doing. You know that you're doing powerful shit. You can even be getting confirmations left and right, you know what I'm saying? You go on YouTube, you see all these channeled messages of, this is for the chosen ones. You're doing amazing. You're more powerful than you think that you are. And then you watch it, you don't necessarily believe in it. You're like, oh, okay, whatever. Why don't you believe it? Because you know what you're doing. You know the shit that you've been through. You know how you healed yourself, how you had to be a mother, a father, a parent to yourself, how you had to sit there and cradle your hurt inner child because nobody did that for you. You know what you did for yourself. You know what you overcame. You know how hard it was. You know the mental breakdowns, the fucking rock bottoms that you've hit. And you stood up again and again and again, and you did it on your own. Nobody else helped you. You know the connection that you have with spirit. You know the connection that you have with the universe. You know how you always seek spirit and spiritual advice. You know the prayers that you're doing. You know the inner work that you're doing. You know the offerings to deities and the respect that you give to deities. You know all the talking to your ancestors, honoring your ancestors, making sure you pave the way for your descendants. Like, you're doing the shit, and I can bet my ass that most of you watching this, you are the only one in your family doing this. Nobody else around you can do this. And you want to question yourself and let others question you? Honey, Of course they're going to judge you. Of course they're going to judge your spiritual work. Jesus was crucified too. It's the tale as old as time. Of course they're going to think that spiritual work is bullshit, or that it doesn't exist, or that it's not important, or that you're doing nothing, or that you're being woo-woo delulu. But then when you set the blueprint, a better blueprint, a stronger blueprint, a more positive blueprint for your entire family, and you heal your entire lineage, they might not even credit you. They might not even credit you. But deep down, they'll know that it was you. Trust and believe. Everyone will know what you did. And that you did the goddamn thing. Everyone will know that they can look to you and they can thank you and they can admire you for it. And they might not. Because they will feel guilty, they will feel jealous, they will feel whatever sort of resentment that they might feel. Because, they didn't support you in the past. Or they've judged you in the past, or they thought that you were wrong, now it turned out that you were right. People might not handle that well, but deep down they'll know. I bet some of them even do know now. And that's why they're being bitches to you. Because people feel it. People feel other people's power. When you go on this journey, when you walk this path, when you become a witch, when you become a spiritual person, when you start healing yourself, working on yourself, when you become the it girl, it boy, right? And I don't mean in that superficial, fake influencer sort of nonsense. But no, I don't mean that. What you think of when you think of an it girl or it boy on the internet. No, I don't mean that. I mean it fucking girl, it fucking boy. I mean, you encompass so much power and so much beauty of the entire universe within you, and you work with it and you let it out and you shine it on the world. The light and the dark together, working together, creating a new world. I mean it as it you're the fucking alchemist. You know what I'm saying? And people see that within people. People look to you and they know, and they're going to be intimidated. And some of them are really going to try to stop you, doubt you, belittle you, judge you, question you, like I said. Not your problem. Not your problem. It's not your problem anymore. It's only your problem when you let them project that onto you and you take it as your own. And then you start looking at yourself that way. You start thinking of yourself that way. You start feeling that way about yourself when you shouldn't. You're so good at looking within yourself. Okay, look within yourself now. Meditate and look into the deepest core of who you are. Can you doubt that? Can you belittle that? I don't think so. If you're so good at being retrospective, self-reflective, reflect on your past. Reflect on all the healing that you've done. Reflect on all the transmuting. Reflect on all the research, the reading, the education that you've done. Reflect on all the prayer, the journaling, the manifestations. Reflect on all the spiritual work. Reflect on all the emotional work. Reflect on all the psychological work. Reflect on how you dealt with and healed your mental issues, because nobody helped you with them. Reflect on how you've been there for yourself when nobody else has been there for you. Reflect on how you stood up and picked yourself up off of the ground time and time again. How can you disempower that? How can you dismiss that? How can you question that? How can you underestimate that? So step into your power because you have it. And you know that you have it. You have used it. Time and time again, you have used it. I'm hearing abuse it for some reason. And I don't know if it's just like a pattern in my brain that I have. I feel like there will be certain people that will try to convince you or try to say that you've abused that power. Or people might say that, or people might be like, well, if you have all the power, make sure you do not abuse it, right? Make sure you do not think that you're all that, and make sure that you do not become too arrogant. You're not. You're not. Because like I've said, you have proven it. You've proven it in the past. That you're not fake, that you're not arrogant, that you're not the narcissist. Because what fucking narcissist looks within their own self all the time and blames themselves for shit and heals their own fucking shit, their own fucking traumas? You know what I'm saying? What fucking narcissist has so much empathy with others and has so much understanding for others and so much compassion for others, and then lets themselves be convinced that they shouldn't have that empathy and that compassion and that understanding for themselves because they are the one to blame? Like, you are not to blame, okay? It was not your fault. It wasn't your fault. I don't know why I thought of, well, I know why I thought of this because it has so much to do with this. I'm gonna share it. I had this experience once in my class. I study performing arts, and we were doing this exercise where we were like walking in space, and we were supposed to imagine that we are in a certain atmosphere, and that atmosphere was meant to affect us emotionally in a certain way, right? So like if you're in an atmosphere of hot pink, like everything is hot pink around you, it's going to affect you. Or if you're in an atmosphere of needles, so like there are little needles pricking at you all the time, it's going to affect you emotionally, right? And based on that, you're supposed to react. And that's what influences your expression and your acting and stuff like that, right? So we were like doing this, and we were meant to add text to it. And the text that our teacher gave us was, "It's not my fault." And we were supposed to say, "It's not my fault," to other people in that class within that atmosphere, right? So say it like with that sort of specific emotional charge. but like not force it out, just let ourselves be affected by it, right? So like just see and feel how it affects us and naturally express it in that way. And we were supposed to just say it to anyone that we would meet as we were walking in space. And I met my teacher, like our eyes locked. And he came up to me and he told me it's not my fault within this exercise, right? And he actually took my hands. And I, as he was holding my hands, I looked into his eyes and I actually felt like crying. I actually had tears in my eyes. It was such an emotional moment. And I looked into his eyes, and for the first time in my life, I uttered the words, "It's not my fault." And it was such an emotionally charged and such a powerful moment for me. Like something from within, from deep within that I didn't even know about, that was subconsciously like really rooted in me. It came out and it finally expressed itself, and it finally started healing itself by me saying, "It's not my fucking fault." So say that, maybe that's going to trigger some sort of healing in you as well. Because I bet that there are things that people blamed you for in your life that really weren't your fault. And you were taught and you learned to always blame yourself. And you don't have to. The things that happened to you when you were a kid, it's not your fault. It's not. The adults around you are meant to take care of you. They were meant to provide you with a life that would be conducive and nurturing for you, that would sustain you in the best way possible. And they were not able to do that, and that's not your fault. That's not your fault. You are a child. They brought you into this world. You came into this world. Yes, we could debate on soul contracts and how our souls agreed to come into this life, to come into this specific life, and our souls agreed that our parents would do this to us for our own spiritual growth. And you know, we could look at it from a very spiritual, higher perspective, of course. And you know, from that perspective, we were all co-creators of this experience. But for the sake of your inner child and for the sake of your human self, realize that these things were not your fault. Okay? You as a child did not cause this. You as a soul, as a higher soul somewhere out there in the afterlife, maybe. But you as a kid, no. Your inner child has been carrying this weight for so long, for too long. Set it free, okay? Lift that burden off of their shoulders. It was not their fault. Maybe this is a sign for some of you to just do more inner child healing, or just talk to your inner child, just meditate on it, and maybe just be there for them. Because you know that notion of you always blaming yourself, it comes from your childhood most likely. So unless you heal that, you can't really come to this conclusion of, you know what, I am the shit. And in some situations in life, the other people are to blame. The other people are morons. You know what I'm saying? Like, not everything is my doing. And also perhaps you're attracting these people into your life because of your inner child wounding. You know what I'm saying? Like, it all correlates together. But I feel like the chosen ones needed to hear this, because you're chosen for a reason. Because you know how to do the hard work. You know how to do this shit, and you've been doing it for so long. And that deserves to be honored. And because you can do that, and you know that you can do that, you don't fucking let others belittle you. Like, make you feel like you're less than that. Because you can do so much. And of course they don't know the power and the strength that it takes to do this. Of course they don't know the power of this. Of course they don't know how important this is, because they've never done that. And they don't know how to do it. And they would probably refuse to do it. And they also, you know, they're on different paths. They're on different paths. And that's okay. You know, we are always the ones who look at other people and we have that understanding and that compassion towards them. And we're like, they're on different paths, and that's fine. And we support them on their paths. When did they ever do that for us? You know what I'm saying? Like, when did the other people ever give us that, extended us that understanding, that compassion, that empathy? The only thing that they gave us was judgment, was dismissal, was, gossiping about us or attacking us or judging us or, like I said, belittling us, questioning us, doubting us. So don't do that to yourself. Other people are already doing it enough for you. That's why I fucking have this evil eye bracelet, because there are always eyes on me. There are always eyes on me. Trying to see what I'm doing, trying to judge it, trying to gossip about it, trying to be like, ooh, she thinks she's all that. But what is she really doing? And most people that do this, they don't even have access to me. They don't even know. So they're just trying to make up scenarios and repeat old narratives about me, They're trying to recycle the old me that they know, because they don't know the new me anymore. They haven't seen me for years. So they're just trying to gossip about the old version of me again and again and again, and you know, which is pretty fucking ridiculous, because they're just trying to keep that version of you, of me, alive, you know? They have it engraved in their brains. And sometimes, like, family can do this where they, like, mentally categorize you at a certain age, and then they always are going to see you as who you were when you were that age, you know? And no matter how much you grow, no matter how much you change, they're always just going to see you as that. But that's their fucking problem, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's their fucking problem. And it's also their loss that they're never going to fully experience who you are now. It's their loss. They're never going to fully experience it, because even though they can live under the same roof with you and they can see you and talk to you every day, and they're still not going to experience that version of you, because they have this wall, they have this barrier that they created themselves, where they cannot understand that version, they cannot see that version, they cannot comprehend that version, they cannot fully feel that version, because they are energetically on a completely different wavelength, on a completely different level. So if they are not a vibrational match to you, they can't even fully experience that level of you. You know what I'm saying? Which is sad. Which is sad. Because then, of course, they're going to judge something that they don't know and that they don't understand. Because that's just human nature. I've been having. I'm not gonna talk about that, because that might be like just me being delulu. But I recently watched this video of monitoring spirits and how they can show up as insects, like you're being kind of watched through insects around you. And I've been having a lot of insects around me, but also, like, it's fucking May, so obviously, you know what I'm saying, like, it's common, so, like, I don't want to contribute it to that. not not everything has a deep spiritual meaning. Sometimes there are just bugs out there. Like, I've been having, like, really big bugs, like, fly up to me recently. If anything, I mean, I do not give permission to any monitoring spirits to watch me, observe me, or be in my energy field. I do not give permission. You are not allowed to watch me. I reclaim my privacy. Understood? Fuck you. I rebuke that in the name of all ascended masters and in the highest universal energy.